Well, at least she's pulling off a better performance than what you might see at the Olympics. Yes, I'm still taking jabs at this scam of a global sports event. You got a problem with it? This week was the Requisite Sports Festival episode every school anime under the sun has to have. Interestingly though, since Nokotan was the student council president, we got to see things more from the perspective of people who make the event happen. Of course, Nokotan managed to steer the ship smoothly until the day right before, as well start off with just some misplaced equipment that could easily be replaced. I told y'all not to buy those gaming PCs from Walmart and just build your own. Oh, and all this was on top of their entranceway just kind of falling apart on them. Yeah, okay, maybe Kinu really is cursed. Left with no other choice, she tried to get some additional help from the Deer Club, minus Meme, who was prepping her rice field for the next episode. Yeah, we better get some good payoff after all of this build-up. Anyway, they at least managed to set up everything they needed for the day of the event. However, things of course started to quickly fall apart when a third competing team suddenly joined the festivities, the Deer team. Thus, not only did they have to change up the events that were originally meant for two teams competing head-to-head, but of course, the Deer-obsessed community got in the way. Every anime convention in a nutshell. And things only continued to fall apart when Kinu actually had a good reason to freak out this time, as the grizzly bear from the last episode had snuck in and eaten all of the bread for the bread eating race. Thus, they needed to use a substitute carb, which I'll give you one guess as to what it was. But yeah, the bread eating race itself turned out to be an event that family members of the students participated in. And I guess Nokotan just got two representatives in Mr. Tsunoda and Michi, unless the latter had a granddaughter or something, but whatever. The main focus was on Chiharu's brother, who again showed off his inner Lloyd Forger and tried to win the race by obsessively planning everything out. However, like going on a date with a bullet up her ass, his plans quickly start to crumble in this insane deer-infested world. And I guess Nokotan decided to be stingy with her crackers, and thus, even though they were supposed to eat 3 quote-unquote breads, they instead got grass and antlers. So, would this count as cannibalism on Mr. Tsunoda's part? The next Super Mario movie isn't looking quite as good as Sonic 3. Seriously, Keanu's looking like he's going to be a great Shadow. In the end, he did at least manage to take 3rd place, but he didn't factor in that this show is also a Yuri anime, so his little sister didn't even notice. Next up was the obstacle course race that Nokotan participated in. And in spite of, or maybe because of, the stress of trying to manage the festival, a little straightforward race was actually kind of relaxing for her. Yep, nothing to this race, other than just a little bomb disposal. Killer Queen 第3の爆弾バイツァーダスト As a result of Killer Queen, the student council was forced to fill in holes during the cheerleading part of the festival, but they at least had plenty of time to do so, as the episode just decided to start playing the opening in spite of not skipping it this week. Yeah, I may as well get this out of the way. This episode does have some unnecessary padding that feels like it's just trying to stretch out for content because the original manga chapters didn't give them quite enough to work with. We'll say though, it is ironically kind of funny considering Nokotan was trying to make sure that they weren't running behind schedule, which with Nokotan, that wasn't really in the cards. The next event was Tug of War, which honestly I thought would have led to a Squid Game joke when Nokotan's team was winning, but then I realized I wasn't watching the Squid show, but rather the one about the deer and her suddenly flesh-colored antlers, which, yeah, you see it too, don't you? Anyway, Nokotan won the event thanks to setting a new record, which in the manga was recorded by Guinness because of course they would try to make a world record out of everything. Understandably, this left Nokotan just a little exhausted for the next event. However, this did lead to a genuinely wholesome moment where Neko showed sympathy towards her rival after she had made plans to upstage her. It was a good little moment of character development for the little cat girl. No, and it was also a bit of a reminder that Tsuchi was a thing, even though I don't think we've seen it since like episode 6. Though great with Steel, I do feel more for her than some other anime girls and their pets. I think it helps that she's also a cat. Fortunately for Koshtan and her 6 ulcers, there was only one event left with the relay race. However, even that ran into issues when Bambi and his extended family decided to have a festival of their own on the racetrack. The student council tried their best to clear the deer, but to no avail. From here, we did get one of the most significant changes from the original manga this week. In this part of the manga, Koshtan seemingly just grabbed Nokotan off panel, but I guess to kind of pad out the episode, the anime figured they should actually show what happened. Nokotan, though, unlike them just playing the entirety of the show's opening theme, I actually did mind this, as 1, it was genuinely kind of hilarious, and 2, it was basically Hatsune Miku making a new meme. The animators knew who they were working with, so they just took full advantage of it. Granted, this pause after she snatched up Nokotan was a little overly prolonged, but whatever. She managed to move all of the deer off the grounds by using all of the crackers that Nokotan had stored in her hammer space head. However, this led to Koshtan snapping at her for starting all of this by bringing all these deer in, and she ended up exposing her old delinquent ways to everyone there. And yet, everyone was perfectly accepting of the student council president being a little assertive. Granted, maybe a little too much in some cases. Kid, am I gonna find some concerning pictures of Kira Macron on your computer? But yeah, I guess appropriately, since we were nearing the end of this series, a major secret had been revealed, and yet, appropriately for this show, it mostly amounted to... It's no big deal, really. Which was probably the best note to end this episode on, along with the reveal that they went 3 hours overtime. While a bit dime a dozen, sports festival episodes tend to be a lot of fun in anime, and this was no exception. As I said, I think it was made a little more unique due to the fact that a lot of it was played from the perspective of someone actually managing the events. And considering it was Koshtan, there was also a lot of fun butt monkey moments to go around. There was some unnecessary pain that did get in the way of the enjoyment of a show like this, but it wasn't too bad, and it was kind of made up for with some surprisingly decent little character moments. I think Koshtan has become one of my favorite examples of a butt monkey that I've seen in any show in general, which is something of praise. Because if not done right, not only would the joke wear thin, but you'd also start to feel genuinely bad for the character, and start to hate the ones who were making them miserable. Though, the thing about Koshtan is that while she suffers a lot, especially in this episode, she tries to not let it keep her down. It kind of goes with her whole backstory that she was heavily influenced by shonen protagonists like Michi from Tokyo Revengers. She has a never give up attitude that makes her endearing, and also prevents us from feeling bad that keeps happening to her. And thankfully, since most of it is coming from Nokotan, it's seldom malicious. Hell, maybe her whole plan from the start was to get Koshtan to reveal the truth about her past, to confront it, and realize that, yeah, people wouldn't mind it that much. Probably overthinking things, because really, this is a show about insane, surreal comedy, with Antler bomb diffusions and Guinness recording the longest game of Antler tug of war. It's just great comedy that's accented with little bits of characterization, like the aforementioned Koshtan, and even Neko getting her little moment. And overall, this is just another fun episode that used a very common trope in sports festivals, but certainly put its own little twist on it. Whether you are on Team Red, White, or Deer, I think we all won. Thank you for watching, and as we've been kind of saying all week, be sure to check back on Sunday, when we will start reviewing the next Kamen Rider series, Gav. It's one thanks to all of y'all's excitement for it in the comments, I've actually become a little more excited to check it out myself. So obviously look forward to it, and until then though, farewell for now my friends, and... oh, looks like they're starting the cavalry battle. With deer. If you excuse me, I gotta go find a barricade.